Have you ever really stopped to think about the most powerful, most complex machine in the entire universe? Well, here's a hint. It's not some supercomputer in a lab. It's the one that's sitting right inside your own head. Today, we are going on a tour of your incredible human nervous system.
So let's just start with a really basic question. How are you watching this right now? No, really, think about it. Your eyes are taking in the light from the screen. Your brain is translating my words into meaning. Maybe your hand is holding your phone. How is all of that happening at the exact same time without you even trying? Well, here's the thing. It's not magic, even though it sure feels like it sometimes. It's a silent, unbelievably fast network that is, quite literally, running your entire life. It's your nervous system, and it is firing on all cylinders for you right this very second. All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the big picture, what this supercomputer actually does. Then we'll look at its two main parts. After that, we'll dive right into the control center, meet the tiny messengers that do all the work, see how they talk to each other, and finally, we'll put it all together to see it in action. Sound good? Let's get started.
Okay, first stop on our tour, your body's supercomputer. To really get a handle on how this whole thing works, we first need to understand its three most important jobs.
The best way to think about your nervous system is as the most advanced communication network on the planet. It's way faster and more sophisticated than any internet connection. Its whole purpose is to control, coordinate, and respond to, well, everything.
And it does all this in three basic steps. First up, sensory input. It's constantly gathering information. Your eyes see a hot cup of coffee, your nose smells it. Step two is integration. Your brain takes that info, processes it, and decides, I want that coffee. And finally, step three is motor output. It sends out the commands, like reach out your hand and pick up the mug. And what's absolutely wild is that this entire process happens in a fraction of a second.
So how is this huge, complicated network even organized? Well, it's actually broken down into two main divisions. And understanding this split is totally key to getting the whole picture. On one hand, you have the central nervous system, or the CNS. You can think of this as the main headquarters. It's just your brain and your spinal cord. Then you have the peripheral nervous system, or the PNS, and these are like all the data cables that run from the headquarters out to every single part of your body, from the tips of your fingers to the bottoms of your feet.
So now, let's zoom in on that headquarters. It's time to take a little tour inside the main control center itself, your brain and your spinal cord. Your brain basically has three major regions. You've got the forebrain, that's the CEO, handling all the high-level thinking, your personality. Then there's the midbrain, which is like a crucial switchboard connecting the other parts. And then you have the hindbrain, which is on autopilot, taking care of all the stuff you never have to think about, like your balance and breathing.
But what's really cool is that the forebrain, the CEO, is split into different departments or lobes. Your frontal lobe is basically the essence of you. It's your personality, it makes decisions. The parietal lobe is processing things like touch and temperature right now. Your temporal lobe is handling the sound of my voice and linking it to memories. And your occipital lobe? Yeah, that one's working overtime to process everything you're seeing on the screen.
Okay, so we've seen the big buildings and the main departments, but what are they actually made of? Let's zoom way down to the microscopic level and meet the real workhorses of the system, the neurons.
Now, I want you to really let this number sink in. You have roughly 86 billion of these little messengers in your brain. To put that into perspective, there are about 8 billion people on the entire planet. That means you have more than 10 neurons in your head for every single person on Earth. It is, without a doubt, the most complex network we know of.
And the design of each neuron is just beautiful in its simplicity. You've got the dendrites, which act like little antennas, always listening for signals. Then there's the cell body, which processes that signal. And finally, the long axon, which transmits the signal away to the next neuron. So it's always the same loop: receive, process, transmit, over and over again.
So, if you've got 86 billion of these things packed into your skull, how on earth do they all talk to each other without getting their wires crossed? Well, let's take a look at something I like to call the neural handshake. It's how these neurons communicate.
Now listen carefully, because this is the really wild part. Neurons don't actually touch each other. There's a tiny microscopic gap between them called a synapse. And that little gap is where all the magic happens. It's where the message gets passed from one neuron to the next.
So here's how it works. The signal travels down a neuron as a fast little electrical impulse. But to cross that gap, the synapse, it has to change its form. It becomes a chemical signal. These little chemical messengers, called neurotransmitters, float across that gap, and then they trigger a brand new electrical impulse in the next neuron. It's this incredible electrical to chemical to electrical relay, happening billions of times every single second.
All right, we've looked at all the individual parts, from the entire brain all the way down to that tiny little synaptic gap. Now, let's put it all together and see how this amazing system actually works out in the real world.
Probably the best example of how efficient the nervous system is a reflex. A reflex is a totally automatic response that your body makes without even asking your conscious brain for permission. You can think of it as your body's ultimate life-saving shortcut.
So picture this. You accidentally touch a hot pan. Immediately, a sensory neuron sends a danger signal screaming up to your spinal cord. There, a special neuron called an interneuron acts like an emergency switch. It completely bypasses your brain and sends a command straight back down a motor neuron that says, "Pull your hand away now." And that's why your hand yanks back before your brain even has time to process the feeling of pain. It's a built-in safety mechanism.
But what about a more complex action, like catching a ball? Well, for that, the whole team has to work together. Your occipital lobe sees the ball coming, your frontal lobe makes the decision to catch it, your cerebellum coordinates the precise movements, the spinal cord relays all the signals, and finally, the peripheral nerves tell your arm and hand muscles to move at just the right time. It's a perfect, seamless symphony of action.
Okay, so let's do a super quick recap. The key things to remember are these. The system has three main jobs: get information, process it, and respond. It's split into two parts, the CNS headquarters and the PNS cables. The basic building block is the neuron, and neurons talk to each other using chemicals across a tiny gap called a synapse. And finally, those amazing shortcuts, the reflexes, are there to protect you automatically.
Every single second of every single day, your nervous system is performing billions of operations, all just to keep you alive, to let you think, and to let you experience the world. It is, without a doubt, the most powerful tool you will ever own. So the real question is, what are you going to do with all that incredible power?